inauguration with Vogue, I wanted to create proprietary specialized pieces to go along with me becoming the successor if Anna decides to hire me as the next editor in chief of American Vogue. So I wanted to start with outlining certain ideas that I've had for a while now, and I hope that Anna sees this and enjoys what she sees. Hopefully, would like to approve of these going into manufacturing. So, the first account that I wanted to work with was Anna Khouri, and I found her to be this just amazing designer that I had seen gain the approval of being a stockist at the Rose stores. Also, just she's Brazilian, and I just have affinity for anything with my exploration of Latin identity as being Filipino. So, where I wanted to start was with her Justine bracelets. And Anna Khouri does these Justine bracelets, and she's not necessarily a designer that you'll see being able to scale towards a commercial market. But where I found the most comfort in her pieces was just understanding that when I saw it, it was unlike anything I had ever seen before, and it does just align with how I found an aspirational life of luxuries to be. So the first thing that I wanted to do was redesign the Justine bracelet from her in ways that I could agree with. So through her website and through information that I found online, this stone that you see in the middle of the bracelet, as in this sample, is supposedly a 19 karat cut stone, and she coins her type of gold as a fair mined 18 karat. So what I wanted to do was replace the crystal with variant materials, so just basically having different materials, different colors that resonated with me. The first one that you'll see is modern form, and that is basically I divided the part of the bracelet into two parts. So you see the front here is kind of mirrored, and the rest of the bracelet is in a transparent material. So you have a shell front and a surround. So what I wanted to do was redesign one where it was completely rose gold, 18 karat fair mined rose gold at the front and with a surround, with the chosen purple blue sapphire that you see here. And the pink and this slightly, I would say, periwinkly purple blue color is just a combination that I really resonated with and was something that I found to be super xenon of the 21st century. The one thing I would like to correct, which I thought could be an efficient use of redesigning something, was to do an only metal stone setting and forego the diamonds that you see here. So that creates a crownish setting that is great, but I think that if we did go ahead and choose a different crystal, that minimalizing this part is something that I saw happening she also improves if she also approves of this still aligning with the design integrity that she likes to keep with her own designs. So that was the first one. I chose to do a coffret of 3. The next one you'll see is called Latin form, and this one reminds me of home. This one reminds me of how I grew up and kind of just has this very Filipino esque descendancy to it. It's not really ethnically forward, but it's very much just I grew up with a lot of teak wood in my house. I love the color of teak wood that I see in my house. It's really similar to this sample that she has of a necklace. Very, very similar actually to this tone of wood in the necklace is what I would like to achieve in a bracelet. So I chose to cite Brazilian rosewood, which I believe this is, or doing it in a teak wood, which is the actual wood that you will find in my home, because my parents bought furniture in teak wood. I chose to do this in a champagne gold surround with this chosen bluish greenish sapphire. So this kind of reminds me of the green that you'll find in peacock feathers. And the mix of wood with green and gold just made for a very environmental outlook on jewelry. So it would look like a piece of nature that you found. But because of, again, the way that her pieces are made, I'm not sure if these would be available for purchase. I think it would have to go into sampling first as an exhibition piece before we could see if it would be scaled or affordable to have towards some targeted consumers. So these are the 10 people that I'm just briefly showing you. It will probably change as time goes on towards the actual consumers, but these were my aspirational consumers. The last one is natural form, and this one I definitely think is something that could be cool as an exhibition piece. I don't know if this would be something that anyone would purchase, but I think with the way that Anna Khouri is in the industry, she has space in her business operations to create things that are meant to be shown in a shadow box that may not necessarily, again, be scaled for consuming. And what I wanted to do was create a travertine front with a white gold surround. So I'm not sure if you need to choose a stone that is more porous so that it's lighter. I'm not even sure if you can carve a travertine to become in the form of a bracelet, but I think that's where I hit the ceiling with creativity, and how once these things do get approved for production, this is just one instance of experimentation with materials that may or may not, again, be like published in magazines or an editorial for you to find out that someone has gone through the manufacturing stages in order to achieve it. So I wanted to go ahead and just simply say that, like, my principle was in seeing, can the industry carve stone that is usually seen in furniture or renovating homes and do it in a bracelet, because I think that would be really cool to just see, if not worn. And that one comes with a white gold surround, so it looks very tonal to this type of, I believe it's called Makuba cream travertine that I sourced from NYC Stone's website. And all of these go with this natural only metal stone setting and foregoing these itty bitty diamonds around the surround of the crystal. And I would be really excited if Anna would approve of this, seeing production. And I wanted to take Anna Khouri and have her do something more traditionally to what a jewelry designer is sought out to do when it is about a namesake label, and something that most jewelry designers in an industry start principally learning how to make, and that was a tennis bracelet. So I wanted to use the account of Anna Khouri to make a Hase Fuego tennis bracelet. And this would be done in orange sapphires and Mexican fire opals. So the orange sapphire that I chose kind of reminds me of like the orange that you see in Miranda or Cheetos. And the Mexican fire opal does render out a color that could be similar to a ruby. But what was important between me and Anna Khouri was creating a piece that used Aboriginal locale materials to certain parts of the world that has, an abundance of these materials, and making it very sustainable to what the intent is with creating a piece of this scale caliber. I chose to do an alternate of 3 princess cut orange sapphires to 1 old French cut Mexican fire opal in the sizes of about 0.4 to 0.5 carats for the orange sapphires and about 0.7 for the Mexican fire opals. And I wanted this set in white gold. So when you see this pattern that I laid out for you, I was looking at this to kind of look like a ring of fire that you're wearing on your wrist. So the old French cut, I believe, is different because the faceting is more dimensional. So you see this part, it has a larger like a welter at the top of the gemstone, and you see these cuts of lines right here that create like what I found. I basically found the old French cut I found the old French cut way of cutting stones to seem like what you would find like when, like, my tattoo basically is of like a diamond supply diamond, and I know those are a little rounder, but in actuality of what the reality is of certain cuts, the old French cut resonated with me as being, again, the most dimensional. So that's why I chose it. And then I chose a princess cut because, well, first of all, princess cut sounds like really great, but I think at the same time, with the price point that I saw these at, I found that to be the most efficient use of the materials that we could source to make this happen at an affordable price. Sorry, the word that I was trying to find was girdle, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to describe the top of this. But again, like what I'm saying is these tend to have a more flat faceted top, whereas this one has like a well girdled top portion, is what I'm saying. And what I also realized was the old French cut way of cutting stones is back during times when, you know, technology was not as advanced, so their way of faceting gemstones from the lower parts for it to refract light were not as readily available. So this was something that they could do for themselves back then. But how it applies to the design here is that, again, like as it being the larger portions that alternate through the diamonds, that alternate through the tennis bracelet and the gemstones in general, you'll see this commanding domineering color in a larger format, with the orange being in these flatter things. So they look like comets. I thought that they would look like comets, and it would just have just a different look to what you would normally come to find when you look up a tennis bracelet. So that was the idea that I had for the Ana Khouri Hace Fuego tennis bracelet. I wanted to work with was Audemars Piguet. So I wanted to create a Vogue AP in their royal oak, and I called this the Vogue Gingerbread Royal Oak. So you'll see on the right, there's just a few different people that I wanted to illustrate for what I saw this royal oak being marketed as. So I wanted this to be, you know, very of a energy, a vibe. But I found this to be unique because I don't necessarily think that these are the type of women that you see in the artillery of what a AP consumer is. So this was kind of the subgenre of style of women that I wanted this piece to be made synonymous with. Now, I asked that if Anna wanted to work with AP to see if we could make this a collaborative product with the network, which included inscribing Vogue onto the dial itself. I have a common theme of using ginger as a color that is something that you'll see across all of my work. And I cited this crash watch with a metallic dial that I found to be very similar to what I think the perfect ginger color would be. So in my mind right now, I see this to be having a metallic face to it, and I wanted to create this in champagne gold. So I wanted it to look very old world, and I wanted to have a deeper brazened honey color that is different to a regular yellow gold. It might have some undertones of a pink to it, but in general, I felt like this was a good example for you to see what type of gold I was looking for. I wanted to create it in the chronograph dial setting, so their regular AP3 chronograph dial setting. I felt like that was a really cool, like sporty way to finish off a very feminine piece. And what I wanted to do was cite this watch itself. So you see that the bezel is plain, but there are diamond dial markers. So if this does get approved for production, I would like to make a final say as to whether we want to create these in regular dial markers. But right now I see these to be okay done in diamonds, but I definitely wanted the bezel plain. I wanted the bezel plain because I wanted to have clear diamonds snake bites on the bracelet. So you see here, I didn't want it to be iced out like this, but I just cited it for the clear diamonds that it has. But the final product would look similar to this piece that I found. So pretty sporty, I would say. It would be the chronograph setting here. We're not sure about what the dial markers are in the end, but I am very sure about it having a plain bezel with the snake bites rendered out in clear diamonds. So that was an idea that I had with AP for this Vogue Gingerbread Royal Oak.